All right, so that's basically it's quite long-winded, but a lot of explanation about defense and all the various aspects. So if you notice, there was a overall arcing theme of just being aware of what's happening, being just being perceptive as to what's been the story, what's been the ongoing kind of, well, I did this, he did that, I did this, he did that kind of thing, and just allowing yourself to adjust to that and being open to making change. If something isn't working, there's no use in sticking with it. You got to find other things that will work, at least give you a chance to start getting some blocks. And this applies, in all types of defending from the 2-rod, defending from the 5. Try stationary, try fast moving, try shakes, but you have to be comfortable within it. So, be open, be aware, be comfortable with what it is you're doing. And then back here as well, you're gonna have to watch yourself and watch your movements, like so that have that duplicity of defense where you are moving. Yes, you have movements, but you're gonna try to be random. But you kind of have to have that thought in mind as to, well, how is the shooter going to shoot on my defense, and then make an adjustment right in the middle of that defense. You have to try to be, I'm not a big believer in trying to chase down every ball. I'm a big believer in being controlled within myself and forcing the opponent a lot of the times to kind of shoot where they don't want to shoot. That's one thing I didn't talk about before, is forcing the opponent to do their weaker options. You have control over where they go and what shots they can shoot. Like some pole shooters, they just, they really love to shoot the long, so, you can give them defenses kind of like that, where you're like a lot of motion there, but long is pretty much never open. And then you make them read the inner holes. You make them read the straight, make them read the middle, make them hit the shots that they don't feel powerful doing. So then you're dictating to the shooter. I know you love option long, whatever it is. I'm going to make you do something else, and so you can get them out of their comfort level, because a lot of shooters, they really love to work a certain option or whatever, and that's what they're very well practiced, and that's what they love to do. They feel powerful doing it, they feel confident doing it. They'll get some momentum if you allow them to kind of shoot their favorite holes. So as a defender, you have the choice as to where that opponent gets to put the ball in the net. If a guy loves to shoot straight, well then, make him, maybe he's got a sore wrist, maybe he's been playing the game for 30 years and the long hurts a little bit. So if that's the case, then make him hit, a really nice long. You can just adjust your movements a little bit. You think, okay, yeah, you can hit that long, but it's going to hurt. So I'm going to force you to shoot the shot you don't want to shoot. The same thing here, force you to pass the pass you don't want to pass. Maybe some lane passers don't like to pass wall against a spiked out defense. Some people don't like to kind of see something back. You got to find out what it is the opponent doesn't like and make them live in that world. Make them feel uncomfortable with your presence. If you find that the opponent doesn't like very lazy defense kind of thing, or if the opponent doesn't like really aggressive defense, then by all means do that, as long as you're staying within your own game plan, within your set of tools that you bring to the foosball match. So that was just more of a summary of everything I said before. It's like, remember, move, be controlled about where you're moving. Don't just flail around randomly, because if you're flailing around randomly, not really understanding where you're moving, you won't know how to adjust. If you're moving with purpose and moving, okay, I'm gonna, sometimes even, I guess I didn't discuss this one before, but if you're listening this far, I guess I'll give you a bit of a reward, a defense that works well against some passers, where you just kind of count. You kind of go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, just really, you're picking where you're blocking. You're being very deliberate, and you're alternating the timing in which you're staying in the hole, which really is difficult for some passers to pass against. So it's another kind of thing that you can try to do. You can kind of go like 1, 2, 1. Like, just totally random, staying in the hole a variable amount of time, and actually counting to yourself to actually make sure that you are being variable. because you don't want to fall into the same habit of, you know, if I go there, every time I go there for 2 seconds, then I come off. You know, you don't want to show that habit. Every time I go for there for 2 seconds, I come off, because the passer will be able to get on that. You got to be able to give yourself ways to be purposefully random, purposely variable. So at least that's what kind of like, that's the kind of defenses, when my defenses are working, that's the kind of strategies that I'm running. But of course, this isn't the end all be all. There's some passers out there that just pass through me quite easily. In that time, it's more of time to come down to percentages. As to, well, you know, I know this passer is a great passer, like a Adrian Zamora, for example. Awesome 5-bar, very very patient, very steep. But against a passer like that, sometimes you just have to say, okay, if I chase everything and try to be really random, you're just going to rip me apart. So I'm going to just, you know, play percentages. I'm going to say, okay, knowing this player, or maybe not, I'm going to make him do wall passes. Maybe he likes to do lane passes. A lot of players like to do lane passes. They think it's the more difficult, so they think that's the one they want to do. Like I'm a little bit that way, but honestly, I'll take whatever you give me. So I'll think, okay, if this guy doesn't want to do lane passes, I'm going to make him do walls for the first game. You know, I'm going to move around. I'm not going to try to give up any lanes whatsoever. If he gets a wall, fine. I'm not going to chase it down. I'm not going to get out of position and cough up a lane that I didn't want to give him. I'm going to force him to do. It's kind of that force them to do the pass they don't want to do. You're dictating what's happening. So then if you're dictating, you know, going wall, forcing them to go wall, then at some point in time within that match, you can then change and go, well, okay, I'm going to show you the same defense as I was before, but now I'm going to block that wall and steal that wall, and hopefully you've disguised it enough so they won't know when you've made the switch. So then at least you can get a steal or two, so that then you can get maybe some extra possessions, where otherwise if you're chasing down everything, you might not have gotten a single possession. So sometimes you have to give up a few to get some later, at least to guarantee some blocks later. It's better than chasing down everything and not getting a piece of anything, and then, you know, that applies so much pressure to your game. If the guy's passing through you 100% and he's scoring at a high clip, then it applies more pressure to your game to execute at that high level. So if you're within a game plan where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to steal, you know, I'm going to force you to pass walls so that I can steal a wall later. If that's the mentality at a high level, sometimes you just have to kind of play that type of that game, and then, you know, you might get a steal down in the wall again, and then they start making the adjustments to go up, and then you're like, okay, now do I stay on the wall? Are they going to go up and keep going up? Well, then you have to make a decision as to what holes you want to give them and when you want to stop giving it to them. That could be just an overall, like, kind of like, I call that game planning the opponent. Think, okay, I'm going to come off, blocking lanes, you know, make them go wall, force them to go wall. Not just sit here and be still and think, okay, here go wall. No, you're still moving around, but you're really, your main focus or your choice when the pass comes, and you can get used to it, you'll see the pass coming. You know, if you're under control of yourself, not just reacting to what they're doing. Don't react, you are in control of your emotions, and you can block that lane when you want to block lane, or steal the lane, if you like, you know, like that, steal it when you see it coming. And then if they get on that, now it's time for you to make that adjustment. And you can either choose to, you know, start blocking wall, but showing the same type of motion, you know, but now you're, instead of coming off the wall to block the lane, you stay on the wall, kind of thing. And then back and forth, you kind of adjust. At least you get some blocks. You force the opponent, the passer, into a certain routine, into a certain rhythm. You force them into a hole so that you can at least predictably, hopefully, get some blocks later. So, thanks for listening this far. I think that was a lot of episodes, a lot more than I thought I was going to share. So if there's any more ideas of other things you'd like to hear me ramble on about, I'd be more than willing to talk to myself here in my lonely foosball room. Anyways, thanks for listening this far, and have a good summer.